Hello, hello. It is Wednesday, November 29th. I just wanted to show you, I did take a quick trade today. When I sat down, I actually saw one that I could have made just a little bit of profit on. Let me turn this off, sorry. But I did lose a little bit on it. Let me scroll it back here, and I haven't been looking at the rest of the day. So I saw the possibility for a long, right as it was pulling off of this area. When it didn't break through that top Bollinger Band, no follow through for the long, MACD started to push down. I took the exit. I did not want to wait for it to come back and take my stop, which was right behind here. So I did lose a 1.25 right here to begin with. Then as these bars started pushing up really hard and trying to close at the top, the BBs were actually pushing lower. So I did try to grab this at the top right as I realized, really, I tried to grab this at the top. And the bar started pushing down. So I moved my risk down, I moved my entry down. My risk was still right above here, which is where it needed to be. When it pushed down through here, I did move my risk pretty quickly, about right here as it was pushing down. I let it take my first target. So I have two targets set, one for 2 points and one for 3. So I let it take my first target right at 2 points. When this bar pulled back, I did decide to start keeping things in pretty close. It pushed down here. I even moved my wrist down just a little bit further right at this point. Now, my reason for exit here. I had hit my large EMA, which you can see the large EMA. We've got the small EMA on each chart. I've hit my large EMA. Whenever that happened, it is a great area to create a bounce. It's still kind of out in the air here, and the MACDs were still strong down, which I did anticipate more down, but I wasn't going to sit there and wait through it. So what happens is it gave me a reversal bar, and I just went ahead and took the exit at the area. So this happens quite often, and I did mark these in real time. I said, okay, well, if I was going to do this, it's still showing me a short. It showed me a great potential for a long here, but I would have exited early with a little bit of fear of this EMA. And, it's with good reason. We came up to the zero line, we were rolling off the bottom Bollinger Band, and we had EMAs here. This small EMA does not have near as much weight as all the rest that we see on the charts. So, was I anticipating it to hold? I really wasn't sure. We had flattened out here on the 1597 on our large EMA. We were starting to flatten out. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right here. We had a lot of strength and momentum still to the upside, so it could definitely give us a push up. So I wasn't really willing to take anything here. I did see some great potentials for the long here, but by this time I wasn't giving it my full attention. So when the long pulled up and then it came back and gave this little bit of divergence here, I said, oh man, this move to the upside is definitely over. We're rolling below the zero line on the 4181, and the MACDs did a MACD slide and just stayed strong to the downside with the EMAs open, spread wide open on the 10946. So there was a lot saying that once this happened, and I'll go ahead and mark an arrow here just so we can kind of continue to follow along with it. I don't know that I would have caught it there. It would probably been more along the lines of somewhere in here. And I would have definitely been concerned as we're pulling back into the EMA right here. So it pulls down, it comes back up. It actually gives you another area once this is crossing over to continue down. Now here's the little bit of the dilemma. The next area that can create a bounce is right here. This is our support area. We do have a lot of reasons to believe that that support area will not hold at that very moment, especially with the MACDs getting outside of the Bollinger Bands here and still having that continuous strength down at this point. Oh, I don't want to get ahead. Where am I? Okay. So when this pushes down and gives a double bar and a pullback, I'd really be thinking about taking an exit at that point. I would, at the very, very least, if I still had 2 contracts in, one would be out right here. The next one would be out at this moment. Whenever the MACDs don't push through, I wouldn't want to hold through that. It does pull back. At that point, it gave a pretty strong pushback in the MACDs. I probably would have been a little bit cautious about taking any of these trades along the way. There were a lot of opportunities. Yes, it pulled back quite a few times. I'm trying to come back in here. It pulled back quite a few times. The next spot, let's see, here is if you did take these, and I just want to go ahead and show, I'm going to show the entries. I'll come back and put the exit on there after. You've got the slowdown, the pullback, and the MACDs would be somewhere right in here. The exit would be here. It pulls back again. Lower MACDs right here as it's rolling over just a little bit. And you're starting to get the potential for the crossover. Lots of room to the zero line on the 1597. So somewhere right in here may be your next opportunity. Heck, you may have had the guts to take it right at that point, especially because the EMAs are pinching tighter and tighter together. You've got these really weak pullbacks just sliding along the EMAs, sliding along the Bollinger Bands. And it does have an exit criteria right here as it's getting back inside of the Bollinger Bands. Lots of room to run. I'm going to go ahead and mark those exits. I was going to wait on it, but I want to go ahead and mark them. There's lots of distance back to the EMAs. If you were taking it this with the divergence, yeah, get the heck out. And your first opportunity for an exit is right around here. The next one, I mean, definitely spots that you can exit, but the next one gives a signal when it starts to get inside, gives the long bar and the close at the top. So it pulls back up into the area again. And kind of move this forward. And it pulls back up into this area. You still have a lot of room to run to the zero line. You've got a nice little reversal bar here. You've got distance to go. You've got distance to the zero line here. If all this doesn't make sense, it's okay. We can learn it as we go along, or we can learn it down the line. I like this nice little pullback and entry opportunity as it is pushing down. The exit probably for me would be as it's holding off in this area right here. At the very least, my first exit would be there. My next exit would be with the roll inside of the Bollinger Bands right here, because at that point I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy about this continuing on anymore. MACDs are really struggling to push down on the 1597 at that time. I'm just taking a peek of where we're at here. You still had a little bit flow into the downside on the highest time frame. We're coming right into that longer term EMA on the 4181, which is that short term EMA on the 10946. I'm not playing the game anymore. Look at these MACDs. They can't push down to exceed this previous pivot. And we've had a lot of opportunities to push down. And we're starting to show, all these potentials for divergence. So I am not holding on for all the way down here. This is close enough for me. It did go down a little bit further. Now, this is the next spot that I really want to talk about, because I really, really like what's happened here. What happens here is it pops back up, and I want to look at the MACDs with this, y'all. So the MACDs, we had price try and push down, and the MACDs started getting inside of the Bollinger Bands. They're giving us a little bit of retracement divergence, or just divergence in general, because the price reached that previous area. Although, if you know me, I don't give the divergence on the 610 a whole heck of a lot of weight. We want to really see this happening on higher time frames when it comes to divergences, which we do have right here. Price is pushing down, 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 and look at all these closes starting to happen towards the top of the bars. The MACDs are really trying to break through. They get one little breakthrough, and actually this breakthrough, look at the bar, the way it performs. I'll make this bar a little bit smaller, so I think I can do a 1 here. There we go. We're going to make this a little bit smaller. You can see this bar pushes down pretty hard too, right? So we had close at the top, close at the top. This bar pushes down. The next bar really tells you that that bar was a liar. Because the next bar says, we're closing high up at the top. We get right back inside the Bollinger Bands. And they are pinched so unbelievably tight right there that it really kind of feels like it could go up or it could go down. So, but where's the truth? The truth, we look back here and say, not happening. Not happening. That bar is not, we're not pushing through. We started getting these longer bars with these closes at the top again. And right about here is when we pop that top Bollinger Band. Oops, sorry, let me pull this back over here. That's when we pop that top Bollinger Band. At that time, we get that close at the bottom, and we can't even push through, because look, that last time we had the close at the bottom, it popped it through that bottom Bollinger Band. Now we get that close at the bottom, and we make this smaller too, just so it can be easier to see. Couldn't even break through that bottom Bollinger Band. We've made a little bit of a wedge in the Bollinger Bands, right? We push that down hard. That's all that happened. The next one pops up. But you get the opportunity to enter it before, way up here, as it's popping up at this point. Yes, EMAs are open to the downside on the 610. Remember, the 610 does not lead the show. It simply gives us low risk opportunities. So there is a beautiful, it's just absolutely gorgeous entry opportunity. I'm just even going to put it towards the high of that bar. So the next bar happens, it comes up, and it starts to get into an area where we could be concerned of a little bit of a slowdown. You're coming into the EMAs. You're coming into that small EMA on the 1597. But look what the MACDs say. The MACDs say forget about this area holding. They're strong. They're pushing to the upside. So what happens at this point is you make a couple of decisions. Do I go ahead and take an exit? So this is why we work with two contracts. You can go ahead and take that first exit right there, and then you can let the next one run. What is it that's giving us the insight that the next one's going to run? Look at those MACDs. Look how weak those Bollinger Bands are, or excuse me, how weak those EMAs are to the downside, and we're still open to the upside here. Yes, we're below the zero line. And let's see. We're just, we got a lot of strength pushing down still on our gentle giant. Remember, the 10946 is going to take a lot longer to turn around. I don't want to get ahead. Let me go ahead and pull this back so we can really read this in real time. As it pulls back right here, and then it pushes back up, I'm probably going to be just a little bit nervous that it hasn't busted through. Ooh, I'm going to be looking at it and going, well, this is 610 telling me that this is over. And then it gives me a great area to move my risk and let this continue. Long bars, closes at the top, MACD strong up. Yep. So when we pull into that higher time frame, that longer term EMA, like we see here, I'm probably going to make the same decisions that I made when I pulled into the longer term EMA at this point. And if I'm pulling up into there, and I start to see, let me go ahead and move these ahead just a little bit. Yeah. So we're pulling up into there, and what we can see on the, wrong way, right here is that pull back up into that top Bollinger Band and not following through, kind of like it did right here. At this point, I'm not holding on to this any longer if I am in this trade. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take that exit. It does continue up, I believe. Oh, that's right where we're at right now. So it pulls back just a little bit, rolls off the zero line, and is continuing up. So this is where it's either going to give us some divergence and push back down with the EMAs being open on the 1597, or what I really think is going to happen is pull back up just a little bit more. We are below the zero line here. Something that we're paying attention to, pay a lot of attention to, are these Bollinger Bands and the BBs getting below the zero line to work together. So all of this is going to need to do some work. So what may happen is it may pull up, push down a little bit further, possibly even come down to this bottom Bollinger Band, bottom EMA. I keep calling it a Bollinger Band because I've been doing a lot of work with the Bollinger Bands here. If we look at the history, this is probably going to keep going up. If we look at, and I'm just going to bring this up really quick so we can take a little quick peek, see? Oh, all those lines are in the way. All the little arrows are in the way. It's just pushing up and up and up. I don't want all these little arrows in the way of today, but it's just pushing up and up and up. We're breaking back above the Bollinger Bands. It doesn't feel like this thing is going to stop anytime soon. So I guess we just keep watching at this point and seeing what happens. We take the trades based off what the price action is telling us and the MACDs are telling us at that point. So it did give a roll off the zero line to continue up here. I don't know if I had taken that one. It's perfect for it. Nice retracement divergence as it just barely pulls back here. Long bar, close at the top. Yeah, it just feels a little limited right now with the EMA being right there above us. So what I want to see is this break back above, pull back into, and continue up. So we may see a little bit of that. We may see a push back down. I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I can't read the future. All I know is what has happened for me. So there were a ton of opportunities. Today was really pretty. I hadn't seen much movement like this in a while. I took the 2 trades. I got 3 exits. And actually, let me write that here. 2 trades, 3 exits, 1 loss, 1. Can't tell if I'm writing that right. Minus 1.5 plus, what did I do? 4, 5, 6, 25. Okay. And that is going to wrap her up. I'm going to post this and then keep working on videos. Yeah, looks like this is trying to push it. You know, what I'm seeing with this is I can see actually what might happen is this top Bollinger Band pull down and kind of roll off here while everything pushes up and gives it a good area to just keep continuation. I mean, it gets back below the zero line often, but we want to pay attention to what the EMAs are telling us. This is kind of what I'm talking about, what I'm looking for. Is it pushing up and just kind of rolling a little bit and continuing, but in the opposite direction. So pushing down, rolling up a little bit, and then continuing up. So it's kind of the same concept, but not. I know it sounds really weird. But we'll have this all understood pretty clearly once we finish up this curriculum. And it's taking a lot longer than I anticipated, but man, it is going to be worth it, guys. There's going to be a ton of information on there. I'm about to actually make all of my videos over divergences here in just a moment. So we can really understand all the different stages of divergence, and there's way more than one. So, well, hope you have a great day, and maybe I'll catch you on next week with another day of trades. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to hit me up at motivated.trader.love@gmail.com. All right, catch you on the flip side.